This might be giving the game away a little, but damn it, Mr. Eggers, it's the end of the year. I don't have time to figure out what movie in my top 10 is getting removed for Nosferatu. Why would you do this to me?
I'd be more surprised if you didn't like it, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's not about whether I liked it, it's the fact, I don't, it's too late in the year for me to make these kind of decisions.
It's too late for me to think, damn it.
Yeah, no, are you kidding me? Right, Happy New Year, everybody, welcome to Under the Bridge.
Welcome to Under the Bridge.
I'm Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll.
And I am Greg, aka Greg.
And this is our podcast where we talk news of the pop culture variety. Sometimes comic news, sometimes gaming news, pretty much always movie news, and also pretty much always a movie review. So make sure to ring the like button, smash that bell, and share the video around if you're into that sort of thing, because it helps us out and we appreciate it.
I feel like I should be compelled to make a joke about a particular prosthetic, but I can't think of one right now.
It'll come to you.
We're already starting off strong with bad wordplay.
Put it in the montage.
Like, no, don't put it in the montage. That is not the kind of montage we want.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Well, God can't help us now, I suppose.
No.
Alright, I'm gonna get right into it. It's pretty much all comic book movie news this week. I'm surprised to say. Usually I have at least one or two tidbits that are related, but not this time. We're gonna start with some bad Batman news.
Oh boy.
Yeah! The Batman Part 2's been delayed another year.
What?
October 1st, 2027.
Jesus Christ, what happened this time?
Not happy with the script, still working on it.
Oh god, okay, so at least 2.5 years.
Boy, if I had a nickel for every superhero movie featuring a guy with a bat-like aesthetic or association that's been delayed multiple times, I'd have 2 nickels.
It's not much, but it's weird that I have only 2 nickels.
It's weird that I got 2 from this specific thing.
I
mean, I know Blade doesn't have an awful lot of bat aesthetic to him, but, vampire. It's pretty similar.
I mean, I feel like it'd be more so thing where, at this point, you should have earned multiple nickels from the multiple delays.
No, I get 1 nickel for each movie, not 1 nickel for each delay.
Oh, well, that's just...
That's the contracting deal. That's what I signed. That's what I get for residuals. 1 nickel for each movie the delay happens to.
These are our royalties.
This sucks, but, I mean, at this point, who cares?
We have to wait another year until hearing the same motif for 3 hours.
Duh, 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 duh.
I know I've said it before on here, but it really is a thing of, like, if you've never seen the movie, the original The Batman is great and worth watching, but I did not believe Cody when he said that the movie's great, but you hear the motif constantly, and it gets grating after, like, the second hour. It's like, it can't be that bad, goes to see the movie, holy
Oh, gotta bleep that, thanks.
Fair, but still, my point still stands.
While you're at it, don't you? Something blood-sucking parasite.
Yeah, Wayne Corp.
Is Nosferatu?
Oh my goodness.
There's gonna be so many censor bleeps in this.
Probably. Probably.
What have I done? So no, I want the Batman Part 2, but at this point, yeah, whatever, it's fine, take your time.
Take your sweet-ass time.
Now, unrelated, but thematically connected, when talking with the California Secreta podcast, Andy Muschietti, the director for The Brave and the Bold, the Batman movie that's gonna have Damian Wayne, also said that movie had been postponed a little bit.
It's been postponed by 2 years.
But this was later disputed by James Gunn, who said it hasn't been delayed. Now, to be fair, the movie doesn't have a release date, so it can't exactly be delayed.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a date to get pushed back from. That could mean it's shifted priority a little bit, maybe because they're trying to crack the Batman Part 2, or maybe because Clayface, or maybe because they've got... There's only so many release slots. I know James Gunn was talking about they want to do 2 movies and 2 shows a year and keep it limited to that. So, if they're filling out enough things, then it's entirely possible that a Batman movie becomes less of a priority, especially because the sooner you introduce a Batman who's already got probably a 10-year-old shit stain of a child. That's not directed at all children, just Damian Wayne. He sucks!
Specifically Damian.
Worst Robin there is.
Mm.
Where's I going with this? Right, Batman.
Yeah, Damian sucks.
The longer you take to introduce this new Batman, the more shelf life you get out of him, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just hope whatever they do with the Brave and the Bold, it has a Bat family that's bigger than just Batman and Damian, because I swear to God...
It's always those two. Or at least it's always Batman and a Robin of some kind.
Yeah, I want more than just Batman and a Robin. I want there to have been multiple Robins. I want Dick Grayson to already be Nightwing. I want Jason Todd running around as Red Hood. I want Barbara to already be Oracle, or at least already be established as Batgirl and not have to set it up. Maybe there's multiple Batgirls. Maybe we got Stephanie and Cassandra running around too. Give me a whole dang Bat family. We've never gotten that.
And just to be clear, I fully intend on killing you.
The closest we've gotten to that was Batman and Robin. Well, okay, and Lego Batman, but...
Bat credit card.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about it. No, see, that part, the thing that always gets me about that is that implies that Batman is a registered identity. Like, does he have an ID card as Batman? Does he have a social security number? Does he have does Batman have direct bank accounts?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that part's a little nuts.
You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts!
Let's get nuts.
Anyways, I got one other bit of DC news, fresh off the presses, just touched down today.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that Jason Momoa has been tapped to play Lobo.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, looking up pictures of Lobo and what the character looks like, I'm like, yep, Jason Momoa is pretty much a perfect fit for that.
It's what he should have been from Go, none of this fucking Aquaman bullshit.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a great Lobo. I mean, to be fair though, Lobo... You'd think a specific person is a good Lobo, but you know who voiced him in Justice League, the animated one?
Oh, who?
Brad Garrett.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ray's brother from Everybody Loves Raymond. Or Tank from an extremely goofy movie.
Right.
No, and apparently, he's been cast as Lobo because he's going to appear in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Okay.
Which,
alright,
based on that story, you could slot him in. Part of the whole thing revolves around this girl wanting to hire a bounty hunter to help track down a guy who killed her dad, and doesn't have any luck, so that could very easily be Lobo at the start. Or maybe he pops up as some kind of obstacle or antagonist, or maybe he's a reluctant ally. Who knows? Lobo! Lobo he's kind of a fucking asshole.
You alright there?
I was trying to figure out a delicate way to put it, but Lobo can be a fucking asshole.
Alright. I mean, a wolf-alien hybrid, I think by default is going to be a little bit of an asshole.
He's not a wolf.
Oh, he's not?
He's not, no.
Oh, okay. I was looking up a thing about Lobo earlier, and it said that he was part wolf or something.
I think you're looking at something else?
Unless someone inserted, like, their fetish on Wikipedia. Hold on.
Lobo is Iberian.
Oh, Liberian for wolf.
Huh.
Alright, that's one for me. Take a shot every time Greg messes up a basic character description.
Same thing, Greg!
Wait, I thought Kate was a shapeshifter.
Ah, there it is.
Now, normally I say this in seriousness when I'm making an excuse to defend myself of this is why I don't read comics.
This is why you should read comics. Really, the funny thing is, if Lobo's got any kind of animal association, he loves dolphins.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I mean, he's also a murdery asshole, so it kind of fits.
Okay, that's... Oh, God. Dolphins do love their murder.
Yeah, dolphins love their murder. They're the people of the sea, they be.
Dolphins are like, I love murder. The demons. Oh, God, why are we like this?
I don't know, but I'm glad we are. It's a really good time.
Right.
So yeah, no, this is encouraging. This means maybe some actors who actually have talent but were horrendously miscast as a result of the entirety of the Snyderverse can get roles as something else, and maybe Jared Leto can just crawl in a hole and never be heard from again.
Right.
I don't want him back as anything. Not a single thing.
I feel like we just discussed something earlier this week about him getting another role.
He's Skeletor now.
Somehow, that seems fitting for Jared Leto.
We talked about this last week. I strenuously disagree. We're not getting into it again. May he disappear from the face of the earth and never again appear on the screen until the mountains crumble into the sea.
I mean, I would also prefer that.
Yeah. 30 Seconds to Mars, more like, I don't know, I don't have a joke.
30 seconds to my ass.
I thought about it, and I thought I could come up with something better, and then I couldn't, so I decided not to.
Fair.
They brought back Gal Gadot.
I
wonder as who.
I mean, the easy pick is Wonder Woman.
No, not again.
I mean, I agree with you, but I could see them doing that again.
If they were gonna do that, they would have announced Wonder Woman 3 already.
Well, no, but this time Wonder Woman as a side character.
Then I think they just get somebody less expensive.
That, you know what, yeah.
Okay, what if Talia al Ghul?
Ooh, okay.
I'm sure there's something really awful about that casting choice. Let me know in the comments. Let me know the minefield I'm stepping into by suggesting that. Anyways.
Right.
The last bit of news I got, we're blazing through this. Sony CEO, who I believe is planning on stepping away soon, Tony Vinciquerra, he's a fucking madman.
That sounds like most of the higher-ups at Sony, but continue.
I mean, that's a lot of higher-ups in entertainment anyway, but specifically, he was talking with the Los Angeles Times, and I'm not going to go over the whole interview because a lot of it's stuff that, I don't necessarily know a lot about and don't have any room to comment on. But what he said was, he was asked how he felt about the performance of the film studio during his tenure, and he said, "We've had, mostly, very, very good results. Unfortunately, Kraven the Hunter that we launched last weekend, and my last film launch, is probably the worst launch we had in the 7.5 years, so that didn't work out very well, which I still don't understand."
You don't understand. He does not understand.
Hold on. Because the film is not a bad film.
Okay, that I can't comment on because I haven't seen the movie. However.
I can, and my brother in Christ. Do you watch movies?
Do you watch your own movies?
Don't get me wrong, I mean, Kraven's not the worst thing I've ever seen in years. It's not even the worst thing I've seen all year, because that's probably Borderlands, but...
Yeah, no, it would be amazing if it was somehow worse than Borderlands. I feel like I would hear from you about that nonstop if it was worse than Borderlands.
And bear in mind, I'm talking big theatrical releases when I say that. There are movies ranked lower on my list before I decided numbering was stupid, but most of those are streaming movies that have zero budget at all. I feel like Strangers Chapter 1 is probably also a contender. I hate that one so much, but this isn't about that. The point is, Kraven may not be exactly the same kind of steaming dumpster fire as Borderlands, but it's close. It's closer to that than it is to Into the Spider-Verse, alright? Let's put it that way.
It's closer to that than it is Madam Web.
Actually, you know what?
Now we get into a whole thing of like, alright, Cody, so what is the worst Sony Spider-Man movie?
Well, in terms of objective filmmaking quality, like structure and camera work and ADRing the bad guy's dialogue in poorly, it's Madam Web. But if we're talking strictly entertainment value, I still maintain Madam Web is the best of these. I'll stand by it. Better than the Venoms. Better than Morbius. That's not hard. Better than Kraven? Absolutely. But the Madam Web comparison is interesting, because to segue, then in the interview, they said going back to Kraven the Hunter, and Sony had Madam Web earlier this year, which also underperformed, to which he said, let's just touch on Madam Web for a moment. Madam Web underperformed Madam Web underperformed in the theaters because the press just crucified it. It was not a bad film, and it did great on Netflix. For some reason... Yeah, it did great on Netflix!
It sounds... It's like a kid who got caught for something, and it's like, I didn't do anything that bad. Gerald picks his nose and eats a snot.
It did great on Netflix,
It wasn't a bad movie. It did good on Netflix.
Probably the streaming service with one of the widest install bases there is, where people didn't have to pay any additional money to see it. yeah, but it did great.
Oh god, that's funny. That's really funny, actually.
So then he said, for some reason, the press decided that they didn't want us making these films out of Craven and Madame Web, and the critics just destroyed them. They also did it with Venom, but the audience loved Venom and made Venom a massive hit. These are not terrible films. They were just destroyed by the critics and the press for some reason. So wait, hold on a minute, hold on a second, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yeah, so who is it then?
Yeah, you acknowledge that the same thing happened with Venom, but people turned out for that one. So what makes Venom different? I mean, Venom's also bad, don't get me wrong, but you can't be like, oh, it's all the critics' fault, and then point at these 3 Venom movies you made where you still made money in spite of the fact that everybody said they were fucking garbage.
Yeah, this is one of those you can't have your cake and eat it too type of situations.
Or at the very least, you can't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You can't try to pull the victim card and then go, yeah, but I mean, they trashed Venom too, and everybody turned out for that one, stupid fucking idiots. Like, yeah, the critics tried to warn everybody, but nobody fucking listened, but we got their money, so fuck. Fucking hell.
How far is one's head up their own ass, I suppose?
And then he was asked, do you think that the Spider-Man universe strategy needs to be rethought? And he said, I do think we need to rethink it, just because it's snake-bitten.
Okay, good.
If we put another one out, it's going to get destroyed, no matter how good or bad it is.
No, it's going to get if it's bad, it's going to get destroyed. If it's good, the people will turn out for it. It's the whole thing that happened with, I point to Shazam. Like, a lot of the DC movies leading up to Shazam were not great, and Shazam was a fucking riot. And people acknowledged that it was a fucking riot.
Yeah, but I also think, to be fair, Shazam was also only a modest success, and then the sequel tanked.
Fair. Well, okay, you know what, granted, I also look at it at the hindsight of what we were getting up to that point until Shazam. Because until Shazam, a lot of the movies were not great. And I think people are just going like, oh god, another DC movie, this isn't going to be anything special. Then people are like, oh no, Shazam's actually pretty alright, which is, might as well have been prayer to the Vatican type praise for that franchise at that point.
Anyways, CEOs don't have any concept of what a good movie is, I guess.
Yeah, evidently.
So that's interesting. Let's go to trailer time.
Let's do trailer time.
It's trailer time again. We've got movie previews to watch. It's trailer time again. So, we really only got one, because there was a very tiny teaser trailer for Sinners, but not enough for us to really get anything out of. So, we're going to talk about the first trailer for Marvel Animation's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I kind of like it.
I don't.
Oh,
what
this
an
is going to be
interesting
good.
turn this has been. It's just, I don't know. The animation doesn't look very good. Hudson Thames is doing his best, but half the time he sounds like he's almost convincingly playing a teenager, and then the other half of the time he sounds like a grown man on Dawson's Creek. Just, I don't understand the point of doing this show when it's just especially when now they've 100% confirmed that it's not part of the MCU, and apparently the reason why they changed their mind is because they realized very early in that trying to fit it in an MCU canon would make it not fun because they wouldn't be able to use any big villains or anything. It's like, yeah, I could have fucking told you that from go. Are you fucking serious? You explicitly didn't have him do anything exciting until Vulture showed up. That was part of the whole thing. And then you were like, let's do a show before anything exciting happened. Oh, we can't think of anything. You don't fucking say! What the fuck? Anyways, I think I've torn into this enough for the time being. What do you like about it?
I mean, I like the theme song, but I'm also kind of a sucker for, kind of street hip-hop style music. It's weird because I dig the general vibe of it. I was kind of A-ing when it came to the voice acting, because for me, it's a thing of, maybe it's just because of how much crap I've seen at this point in my life, but I recognize very quickly it's like, no, this dude does not sound like a teenager. This is kind of a Glee situation, for lack of a better comparison, where it's just like, yeah, you guys are very clearly not teenagers, even though you're trying to be teenagers. But I don't know, I kind of like the aesthetic, I kind of like a lot of the vibe. It seems to be a more, at least as much as Spider-Man can be, a more like kind of, I guess, relaxed vibe to it that I'm getting out of it. I very much got out of the laugh of Spider-Man fucking murdering a bully.
hit him with a brick.
It's when he like, yeah, it's like, oh no, dude, that when that one was like, ooh, it's like, no, he's fucking dead.
At the very
that
least,
kid is dead, y'all.
He's severely concussed.
That is the low stakes version of getting Gwen Stacy'd, I feel.
He's really most sincerely dead.
Yeah.
Break out the effigy.
The webbing of the brick, followed by the four of them going, ooh, that actually, like, made me laugh for quite a while, I'm not gonna lie. So, that's probably a decent bit of why I enjoyed it, honestly. I don't know, I also kind of look at it from the standpoint of not being deeply engrossed in Spider-Man as a whole. To that extent, it doesn't look like they're going out of their way to make him miserable, which is a welcome change.
Oh, it's young yet, we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know, from the things you told me about, like, what the writers do in the comics, it's Peter Parker, as well as some of the things I've read up on my own, I am convinced it's like, alright, someone's wife was like, man, this Peter Parker's really hot, and it's just like, no, I cannot allow this.
Peter Parker stole my wife?
Yeah, it's like, this drawing stole my wife.
You know what, I'll say some nice things. I'll say a couple nice things. I do like the initial costume design for like a homemade, just starting out Peter Parker. I like that. That's a cool setup.
No, I like that too. It's definitely a lot more unique, I feel like, than a lot of other Spider-Man costumes that we've seen.
So I like that. I like that it looks like they're using some lesser known villains. I'm pretty sure when he does the Matrix dodge, that guy jumping over him is Speed Demon.
Okay.
His whole thing is he's got super speed. That's his thing.
And he's a bad guy?
He's a bad guy.
Oh, I don't think there's usually a lot of I don't think there's a lot of instances of bad guys having super speed that I can think of.
And if they do have them, they fight the Flash.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know who the guy with the flamethrowers are, which is interesting, because usually I can identify Spider-Man villains pretty easily. But, I don't know, he could be Scorcher, I guess he could be Magma, but I'm not 100%.
Do you think there's a possibility that it's a character unique to the show?
I'll be a little disappointed if there is, because Spider-Man's got enough enemies, you don't have to make up fucking villains.
Right.
Can have him fight Panda Mania. I will not elaborate either.
Fair, I guess.
Okay, I gotta go back to one quibble though. That suit he has at the end, that is a very specific suit. That is the Future Foundation suit. It's for when Spider-Man joins the Fantastic Four, because Johnny was believed dead at the time, and they wanted him to take Johnny's place as part of the Fantastic Four. So, while I understand the idea of, yes, let's give him another high-tech suit, Spider-Man's got plenty of fucking suits. You could have used something that's not specifically tied to the Fantastic Four, or you could have made a new fucking suit.
You know, I was actually going to ask you about that suit, and if it's like a new suit, or if it's a suit we've seen before.
It's a pre-existing suit. The context is wrong. I don't like it.
Okay. Or maybe it's a hint that we'll get the Fantastic Four in this show.
Oh, I can't even imagine. What do you think, box office?
Yeah, we might as well do the box office.
Alright. We did see the highest grossing movie domestically this weekend.
Good.
Because it was Sonic 3.
What?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
I am 100% serious.
Man, I was hoping for High Art to take it.
Well, it didn't. It never does, Greg.
Damn.
It never does.
Right. That's fair.
My understanding is that Sonic has very narrowly eked out the weekend over Mufasa. It took in $37 million domestically this weekend, currently sitting at $136.6 million domestically, and $210.5 million worldwide against a $122 million budget, so the odds are it's making at least some money back. I will say, Mufasa does still seem to be beating it at the global box office, which is kind of a fucking travesty, but you know what, I probably shouldn't make judgments. I haven't seen Mufasa. All I know is I saw the trailers, and it made me want to die.
Fair and valid.
And I'm trying to feel more like living these days, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, living's nice. Living is nice indeed.
So I've been told. Haven't gotten there yet. Anyways, third place was actually Nosferatu. $21.65 million domestic weekend, $40.8 million domestic total because it opened Christmas Day, and it's currently sitting at $43.9 million worldwide against a $50 million budget, so it hasn't made a profit yet, but it might.
Okay, I mean, I hope so.
Also, interestingly, this is the highest domestic opening for Robert Eggers as a director, so that's good.
Oh, nice, very good.
If I have one regret, it's that I didn't bring the popcorn sarcophagus, but I forgot to ask if that could be used as a refillable thing. And I didn't wanna risk it. But no, as I gave away very early in this episode, I love this movie. This is in my top 10 for this year. It's a struggle figuring out who's getting the boot, but somebody's getting Das Boot.
Someone is getting 9 boot. Wait, no. That's the wrong kind of German. Never mind.
I think you mean Mein Boot?
Yeah. That would be a better choice of words, yes.
Boy, you know what would really suck if I did all this talk and then I ended up kicking One Life out of the top 10?
I don't think I remember seeing One Life, but I also know it's not the scope of what we're talking about.
The Anthony Hopkins, getting a bunch of kids out of
Czechoslovakia. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, so anyways, we saw Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers.
But yeah, we saw Nosferatu. It's a good time. It's an artsy-ass movie.
Well, okay, I hesitate to say it's a good time.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a brilliant movie.
But you know what? It's a good movie, but yeah, think about it. It's not exactly a good time. In fact, it's a deeply uncomfortable time.
Fun for the whole family.
It is a cinematically and artistically beautiful, deeply uncomfortable, deeply depraved time.
If I had a nickel for every profoundly horny but deeply unsexy movie I'd seen this year starring Willem Dafoe, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
What was the other one?
Poor Things.
Oh, that's right. I still haven't seen that.
This is a remake of the 1922 movie, which is an unofficial adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I feel weird talking about this, because in a way, we kinda just did.
We just saw Nosferatu and talked about it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We have a whole side series called Cinema Synergy.
Yeah.
You should check it out.
Go check out our Cinema Synergy episode on Nosferatu 1922 if you feel like it, please. I worked really hard to get that up in time for Christmas, and it didn't do squat for actually getting more viewer attention, so, it'd make me feel better. If you want. No pressure. But no, this is, a real estate agent ends up selling Dracula a house next to his, and really bad stuff happens.
Yes, a lot of bad shit happens.
This is, of course, directed by Robert Eggers, who also directed The Northman, and The Lighthouse, and The Vavitch.
I forgot that was a thing. I never got a chance to see The Lighthouse, and I remember wanting to.
I haven't either. I keep being told it's great, but I haven't had a chance. All I know is I saw The Northman, and it was alright. I think I remember liking it, but I don't remember being in love with it.
Right.
This, on the other hand, this I'm in love with.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, am I just doomed to have vampire movies on my top 10 list forever? I'm not that into vampires.
Right.
What is this?
Art. This
is
cinema.
It is, in fact, Kino. But no, this has got a really good cast, too, because Bill Skarsgård is, in fact, Nosferatu. You got Nicholas Hoult.
Which is, by the way, shocking. Holy crap. I have certain thoughts on how Orlok is made in this movie, like his character design, but holy crap, the character design and makeup people did an amazing job, because I completely forgot it was Bill Skarsgård. I honestly figured they just got some old German dude to play Orlok.
I got really mixed up, and I thought it was his dad. I thought it was Stellan.
Oh, I could see that.
But no, it's Bill Skarsgård doing a really good job. You got Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Emma Corrin, Rolf Ineson, Simon McBurney, Willem Dafoe. Just, wow.
It's a stacked cast.
It's a stacked cast, and they're all just knocking it out of the park. It's also a deeply unpleasant retreat back into your seat kind of movie at points.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've seen enough halfway decent horror movies to not get as bent out of shape about it. I don't feel like it's an especially scary movie, but it is a significantly tense and deeply, deeply uncomfortable movie, and I honestly think that those two factors do a lot of the heavy lifting on the overall horror ranking of this movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's not a startling movie, but it's a very unpleasant feeling, deep in the pit of your stomach feeling.
Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are jump scares. There are quite a few jump scares, which is always fucking annoying.
Yeah, but it's like being on a roller coaster, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I also think this is a pretty good expansion of the previous, well, the original. I shouldn't say previous because there was at least one Nosferatu adaptation between 1922 and now, and I've only seen these two. So,
right.
But I think it's a pretty good expansion of the original material. It adds some extra characters that help flesh things out a little bit more and help develop some relationships. I like that Ellen Hutter, who I think was called Nina in the original, who barely factored into it at all the first time, other than her husband's deeply in love with her and she ends up having to save the day, but it's kind of an afterthought. Here she's given a lot more focus, so that feels like a more meaningful thing at the end.
She, the existence of her character is a key plot device in this movie, whereas with previous ones, she exists just to be the damsel and nothing else.
Yeah. I also like the adaptation of Orlok himself, where in the original 1922 Nosferatu, he's got a lot of rodent and therefore plague connotations. Here,
right.
The plague is just an aspect of him. He's functionally death. He's an intangible shadow. He's a walking corpse. He is the plague. He is all forms of death incarnate, functionally.
Yeah. And boy, they take the whole thing of him being the plague to a whole nother level.
I don't like it. I like it, but I don't like it, you know?
Right.
This is hard, especially because we just did this, but where does one go? Where does one go with this?
Not to Germany in 1838, that's for sure.
You don't want to go to the Carpathians, that's for sure. Not on the... I was gonna make a Transylvania choo-choo joke, and... Now I don't have it in me.
Oh, I'm gonna keep the joke that just popped in my head to myself.
Oh, no,
William Dafoe steals the show in this movie.
He does! He's Willem Dafoe in it.
Yeah, it takes a while for him to pop up, but when he's there, he steals the scene every time his character is present.
Schnapps?
Schnapps, anyone? I think that was the only significant laugh in the entirety of the movie. It's kind of like, oh god, what was the movie that we saw last year? I think it was last year, about the black French pianist.
Oh, Cavalier.
Yeah, Cavalier. When it's like, it's a serious movie throughout, and it's just like, what of this woman? And it's like, I don't know her. This woman is disgusting. Only, like, funny thing in an otherwise very serious and very, very tense film.
Is that in this notebook? Hold on a second. No. No, it is not.
What?
I was trying to see if I saw Chevalier. Oh, no, it was Chevalier. That's it. It's not Cavalier, it's Chevalier.
Yeah.
That's the title. Good God. No, I was trying to see if I still had my notes in this notebook, but clearly not, because Godzilla Minus One is in here, and I know that came out later last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not. But, oh well. This isn't about Chevalier. This is about Nosferatu.
Yes. I mean, everyone in this movie does a great job, but Willem Dafoe, I would say, was, for me, the particular standout. Of course, Lily Rose Depp as Ellen also was fun to watch. Well, not fun. Fun's not the right word.
Engaging.
Very highly, highly engaging. But between the way she spoke and the way she carried herself, the way she portrayed her character in the most deeply uncomfortable moments, too, it's just a thing of... It's like how, when I walked out of Wicked, Ariana Grande stole the show from me, and I was just like, ooh, I want to see you in more things. Lily Rose Depp is the same way, but in, like, the opposite feeling.
So you don't want to see her in more things.
Yeah, Ariana Grande is, like, fun and witty and all that, and Lily Rose Depp is playing a woman who has night terrors about the most horrific things, and that's putting it very, very mildly.
Less night terrors and more just out-and-out seizures.
Yeah. No, there's straight seizures that you would see from someone whose heart just stopped. The level of acting on display here is just top-notch.
Yeah, it is. Also, I really like the performance by Ralph Ineson, Dr. Severs, the guy who initially is trying to help her out, and then ends up going to Willem Dafoe's character once he realizes he's kind of out of his depth.
Yeah.
He has to do a really fine line of being a man of reason and science, grappling with something he can't understand and having to turn to more unconventional methods that he himself doesn't necessarily believe in.
Mm.
So that's good. That's a good job.
Yeah, that's very good. As far as the way this movie is shot and structured, I don't know if I'm looking too deeply into it, and I'm not sure if I'm taking the wrong things out of it, but I got the feeling that the way this movie is shot and structured, and it's mostly in the timing of how characters interact with one another and how they talk to one another and how much they move in certain scenes, this feels like, it's also performance art, but this really does feel like if someone took this, made it a play, and then turned it into a really good movie. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
No, I guess I can see it. I feel like some of that might just be in the cadence, and part of that's just the fact that the cadence is much more dated. But I do see where some of the blocking and some of the pacing lends itself to a theater-adjacent mindset. On the flip side, though, there are some scene transitions in this that are just, mwah! Couldn't do that in a fucking stage show.
No, you could not. Some of the segues of the changes of scenes, and even just the scenes themselves are, while very dark and very foreboding, are, from an artistic standpoint, downright gorgeous.
Yeah. And then, some parts of this movie are the opposite of gorgeous. They're fucking gross!
They're really damn gross.
This is not a fun for the whole family movie. No, sir.
No, is mentioning the particular prosthetic a spoiler?
I don't know.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where I saw... Oh god, I kind of want to talk more about it, because I saw a thing being discussed about the particular prosthetic, courtesy of Nicholas Hoult. But I don't know if that gives anything away. Alright, no, but you mentioned it... No, you mentioned it earlier, actually, before we started recording. That's right.
Yeah, I mentioned it before we started recording. I think we hold on it.
Okay.
That's what she said. Interestingly, Ellen's friend, Anna, that's Emma Corrin. That's Cassandra Nova.
Okay, as I say, it's like, I know you look familiar.
Yeah, no, they did a really good job in this. Until I saw the name, I didn't realize it was the same person.
Yeah, they are a very, very talented, and as this movie proves, very, I guess for lack of a better description, flexible actor.
I'm thinking, because I don't remember Anna standing out all that much, but I mean, she does get a few pivotal, very important scenes.
One scene at least is some very horrifying outcomes.
Yeah, and one of which is there probably to justify why Aaron Taylor Johnson doesn't like Lily Rose Depp in this movie. I'm not saying there's subtext.
But there's subtext. Yeah.
No, all in all, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead. Also, you know what? Actually, one thing that stuck out to me was the score to the movie is good, but the movie's also really good at knowing when to not have a score.
Yes, it is.
It's really good at picking those moments to just let background noises be the thing that sets the scene, and to let that silence create tension and set the mood, and just, There's one part at Orlok's castle where you just hear, there's no music, so you just hear every little creak and what have you, and it just has you on edge the whole time, and it's good. It's really good.
Oh, it's damn good.
Huh. What do you think? We getting close to the spoiler section?
I'd say so.
All in all, this is definitely worth it. It's an uncomfortable movie, don't get me wrong. Those of you with weak constitutions may not want to see this one. But
Yeah, no, if you have a weak constitution, if you don't like, even though it's not like a commonality per se, if you do not like blood or gore, don't see this movie.
Or sex.
Or sex. Because this is a horrifically horny movie. Emphasis on horrific.
But deeply unsexy. That's an important distinction.
Yes.
It is horny, it is not sexy.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you don't want to get spoiled on Nosferatu, make sure to click away in 3, 2, 1. I like all the stuff they do with shadows in this. A lot.
Yes. Their use of dark lighting and shadows and all that is very good.
And, like, right at the very start, when we see Lily at a younger age first contacting Orlok, and he shows up as a... You see his shadow on the drapes leading into a room, but when the curtains get blown away, there's nothing there. I love that. I love the bits where they really lean into he might as well be a walking shade.
Yeah.
Very unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the best scenes in terms of just atmosphere and vibes is when Nicholas Holt's character, Thomas Hutter, is approaching the castle and he's at the crossroads that make a literal cross.
Oh, that is such a great scene. So, for those who are listening to this and haven't seen the movie, you should see the movie because us describing this scene will not do it justice. It is him down a dark road, and there's a crossroads, and it's just a dark, very foreboding crossroads. And then in the distance, as it comes closer and closer, it's just a slow-motion shot of a 4-horse-drawn carriage. And it's not just slow motion in the movement, it's also slow motion in the sound design, because initially it sounds just like low rolling thunder, but as the carriage gets closer, it's just louder and louder and louder, and it's a terrifying kind of noise too. They definitely dress up the noise in a way to very much increase tension. That was very much the point when I was like fully locked into the movie.
I think the thing that sticks with me, at least that really stuck with me in that scene, is that when the carriage opens by itself, which really ought to be the clue to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, that would be a red flag. That would be the red flag. I was like, you know what? I don't think I need this money. I can go home. My wife really misses me. My wife was literally begging me not to leave. I think I'm gonna go back home and make her happy.
Yeah, I think she might have been onto something, but it's, I want to say Victorian era, so I can't admit that a woman had a point. So...
Yeah.
Here I go.
Oh, that's true, unfortunately.
What am I saying? That's not a Victorian exclusive problem.
No, it is not.
Gross. Anyways, the thing that stuck with me is when the carriage opens, the way it zooms in on him as he gets in, it almost looks like he's levitating into it or being levitated into it.
Yeah, I feel like he was being levitated into it, honestly.
You can feel where he's already under Orlok's thrall, even if he's not actually under the thrall yet.
Yeah. Wasn't it a thing of, if I remember right, in the original movie, Orlok was actually the one controlling the carriage? Like, he was driving the horses, for lack of a better choice of words there.
And I love when he gets to the castle, Orlok is never really seen in full. He's always cast in shadow, you don't see his face, you just hear this deep, rolling, drawling voice with a commanding presence that still doesn't sound human, and he's always doing little things like the bit where he's on one side of Nicholas Holt, and then he steps away, but then he comes in from the other side of Nicholas Holt pouring him a drink, is just... Mwah!
Yeah, just peak, and also just the beginning of just me internally going like, oh no, here it goes, here comes the crazy train.
little things like that, and I like little bits like when Nicholas Holt stops for the night, he stops at a Romani settlement basically, and they take his horse, but he had a nightmare about them digging up a vampire corpse and then staking it, and when he tries asking Orlok about it, Orlok goes, there's all kinds of unfortunate superstitions around here. It's why I'm looking to get out of here to somewhere that has no knowledge of these gruesome things. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like, no knowledge of such gruesome things. Somewhere where I can just sit and forebode and plot.
And feed.
Oh, God almighty.
Now, I have one quibble. It's not really a quibble, it's just a thing I think they might have done something with, or at least, I don't know. I think it's the lawful neutral in me. So, a big to-do is made about Hutter signing this contract that is apparently for leasing the property, but also included is apparently him signing away his wife Ellen to Orlok, but it's all in a language that he can't read. Now, I feel like if this is all binding supernatural contract stuff, the fact that one party was not privy to all the details and able to read them ought to be a nullifying factor. But then again, I'm no contract lawyer, so...
I mean, on principle I agree with you, but with magical paper, who fucking knows?
Yeah, no, it's just weird to me. That's like, no, I don't know.
Mm.
Herr Canuck, I think they pronounce it Canuck. He's good. By which I mean, he's a fucked up goblin man like Renfield in the original.
Yeah. Alright, I have to admit, this is gonna sound really messed up, but because there's a whole thing with Herr Knock of how he's getting, well, how he basically, I want to say it's implied that he's kind of summons Orlok to the village initially, because it's never really established how long Knock has been under Orlok's control, from what I can remember. But Ralph Ineson's character and his assistant find him, take him to like the mental ward in the hospital, and we see Knock with just a bunch of like dead animals around him, and one of which being a pigeon. And at one point, while conversing with them, Knock eats the pigeon's head, and as fucked up as it sounds, I just started laughing a little bit, because immediately following the eating of the pigeon's head, the most fake-ass squirt of blood just starts coming out.
I don't know. I don't think it's that fake, because, I mean, you gotta remember, it's a small creature, and if its heart's still beating, there's gonna be a fucking spurt.
Fair.
It was funny, though. It was a little funny, though.
Yeah, I think it's, again, because of the number of movies I've watched, it's one of those things that's like, yeah, no, fucking Simon McBurney did not actually eat a pigeon's head.
Oh, I should hope not.
So, my brain is just kind of automatically going, it's like, that's a fake pigeon, that's not a real pigeon, they have to do some Hollywood magic shit to make it happen. My brain basically went to, like, the absurd amounts of gore and housing.
I mean, I think SAG-AFTRA has some clauses saying no performer shall be compelled to bite the head off a live pigeon.
It's in the contract, don't you know?
They were pretty bad at getting AI protections, apparently, so who knows? Maybe there is a a biting the head off a live pigeon requirement.
Yeah, that's just one more example of Greg being at least a little bit messed up in the head for those who are keeping score at home. Yeah, I know, but yeah, Knock's whole character arc, for lack of a better description, is something. And he very much got the death that his character deserves, if I'm being completely honest.
But not in that way, he's probably into that shit.
That's true, unfortunately.
A smattering of really good lines. I like the bit where Orlok says, "I am an appetite, nothing more." That stuck with me. I also like the bit where Willem Dafoe's character, Professor Von Franz, has the initial diagnosis of what's wrong with Lily and says she's possessed by a demon. And when Friedrich Harding expresses some skepticism, Sievers just goes, "I assure you, he's speaking in mere hyperbole." "I am not! It is a demon!"
I enjoyed that just because, again, maybe it's just me thinking a little bit too deeply into it, but I feel like the way that scene was set up and the way that the characters are talking about this, it is perfectly, every word in like that exchange by all people involved is perfectly said in a way to make the person sitting in the seat realize how absurd it sounds. It's a deal of, you're in the seat. At this point in watching the movie, you know that Dafoe is correct, but just hearing it said out loud, your go is like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Which is part of why Friedrich doesn't really come around to it until it's too late, and even then, he still doesn't really come around to it. Even when faced with basically proof of the vampire's existence, he even says, "My rational mind can't quite wrap itself around this."
Yeah.
He's kind of an asshole, but he's enough of he's kind of a...
He is a reasonable asshole. He is an asshole, but his reasons for being an asshole are 100% justified.
He is a man of his time, but he's not a particularly awful man of his time.
No. Because the thing about it is that, because a big part of the movie, like a lot of the movie, centers on the fact that while Nicholas Hoult is away getting this contract with the devil himself, Ellen is with Friedrich in their apartment with him and his family, and as this whole adventure is going on, adventure for lack of a better descriptor, Ellen is having more and more and more of these night terrors. She's getting more and more possessed by Orlok as time goes on. And Friedrich does things like, basically lock her away in a different room separate from his wife and his two daughters, ties her to the bed, and is very clearly exasperated by all of this. But it's the thing of, he basically goes multiple times in the movie, he's like, "No, you're having all this happen, and I feel for you, but I have a wife. I have two small children that are terrified of monsters, and I'm constantly fighting to convince them that monsters aren't real. Yeah, I of course I'm gonna act like this, because I've got skin in this game.
And also, part of it might be, I don't know, maybe his wife and Ellen are a little detached. I don't know. There's some subtext.
Yeah, they're very. I mean, they're very clearly attached. Like they're definitely good friends. Yeah. That is for sure. They care about each other quite a lot.
What Zapp Brannigan would call good friends. There's an impressive number of rats in this movie.
There's a lot of rats in this movie.
I don't know how they corralled all these buddies.
Yeah, I've seen things about people training dogs and, to a lesser degree, cats to act in movies. I don't know if you can train rats to do shit. I know that rats on the whole are pretty intelligent, but I don't know if they have the thought process to understand having a role in a film.
Rats of all ages can learn new behaviors. Younger rats under age 2 years tend to learn faster than older ones. Huh.
Fair.
But no, that's cool. I like that more build-up and more focus is given to the fact that letting Orlok stay the night with her and basically give up her life so that he'll be lured out until sunrise and die is given more attention, because in the original Nosferatu, it's an afterthought. It's kind of an afterthought. Here it's built up to this connection that Ellen has with Orlok is key to why it is her, and ultimately her sacrifice is actually given focus and gravitas and depth, and it's good. It's good to see. It's gross, because holy fucking shit, Orlok is hideous, but...
Yeah, vampire schlong and all.
Fucking vampire dong that Nicholas Hoult has framed in his house.
You know what? Honestly, when you told me about that, I was like, you know what? Have at it, Nicholas Hoult.
Have at it, you say. That's a poor choice of words. Why would you say such a wretched thing?
I can just imagine Nicholas Hoult being like, look, man, this is one of the most unique movies I've ever been in my life, and I want a memento for it. It's like, Bill, you want this shit? It's yours. Nah? Alright, I'm taking this then. Yeah, just that, but yeah, just, because again, it was mentioned earlier, this is a aggressively unsexy but still horny movie. You spent a lot of time dressing up how Ellen consciously makes the ultimate sacrifice to bring an end to Dracula, and that cannot be undermined. Orlok, sorry. Death to Orlok. But the fact of the matter still maintains that Orlok died for some pussy.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how they're laying together, and he's looking at the window where you can tell the sun is clearly starting to come up, and then she just is like, no more, and he's just like, yeah, alright. Fucking idiot.
That was another moment where I just started laughing internally, because I'm like, no, you can tell the sun is coming up. I'm pretty sure you know what's gonna happen when the sun okay, alright. He's like, I've waited 70 years for this moment. Nothing is gonna stop me.
It's
not even death itself.
It's also interesting because, I mean, like we said, very horny movie, and that fits because vampires are inherently... well, I shouldn't say vampires are inherently sexual, but there's a lot of sexual undertones.
Sexual subplot.
With a lot of vampire fiction. Here, it's basically predation, because Orlok has been doing this to Lily since she was young. So he's a fucking gross creep, and I respect that they went there.
Okay, I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say I respect it. It's like, wait,
I don't
what?
respect
Cody?
that. I respect that the movie went there and just went, no, he's a fucking creep.
Yeah, unacceptable.
I wrote a poem in honor of this occasion. When your wife says I do to a Nosferatu, netorare.
Oh no!
No, the second you threw the window open, I started furiously scribbling it down.
It's like, write that down.
I cannot let the moment slip away from me. Much like Orlok can't let it slip away from him, and he dies for it. I will say, the shot of him staring at the sun coming through the window, kind of burning, kind of rotting away, that's still that's seared into my brain like the sun is seared into his flesh.
Yeah, so they don't do the usual thing of, like, him just, like, straight up catching on fire, which is what I kind of anticipated. No, they, like, show him writhing in pain, blood coming out from, like, under his eyes and through, like, pores in his skin and all.
Yeah.
And that might actually be the worst vampire death I've ever seen that I can recall. It's very not fun. Now, granted, everything about that was happening in the scenes previous is also unpleasant, but it's pretty bad.
I will say, for having stayed back to set Orlok's castle on fire, von Franz got back to the house pretty quick, which prompted me to write Willem Dafoe more like Willem Defast.
Yeah.
He was schmoovin'.
He was schmoovin' indeed.
But I like that, obviously, Thomas is relatively devoted to... I shouldn't say relatively, because when he found out she was in danger, he went rushing all the way back across the countryside just to get back to her. So I'll give him props for that. But I also like that von Franz is constantly nothing but understanding and sympathetic towards Ellen. I like that.
Right.
I don't know where I was going with that, but I like it. And just, going back to the shadow thing, they do it again near the end. Well, first you get the big, the money shot of the shadow of his hand rising over the town of Weisberg, which
is so cool.
But also at the end, when he's entering the Hunter's house to claim Ellen, he opens the door as a shadow. Like, you see his shadow grab the doorknob and turn it. And I'm a sucker for those kind of things. It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ends tragically, but, plague is stopped after a bunch of people died. But you can't win them all, so...
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate ending, but it is a definitive ending at the end.
You got anything else?
I don't think so.
Well, in that case, thanks so much for listening, everybody. You know what to do if you haven't done it already. Next week, as far as I can tell, there's really nothing coming out. At least nothing that's caught either of our interest. So, prepare for our best of in 2024 list. And I'm not saying Nosferatu is definitely on mine, but it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like after that shit, it's like, yeah, it is.
Stay tuned to see what got booted off. But regardless of what is or isn't in our top 10s, this has been Under the Bridge with Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll.
And with Greg, aka Greg.
And we'll catch you all next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye!